Previously on Eli Chester. I got alcohol poisoning and I had to go to the hospital. My parents were upset, but I hadn't faced any severe consequences yet. It was looking like life would return to normal and I could resume my study of mind-altering substances. Monday morning was business as usual. My dad dropped me off at school and I waited for him to leave before disappearing into the alley. My friends and I would meet there every day and smoke weed before school and then go to class high. Everyone at school knew what happened over the weekend and I enjoyed retelling the story. But besides that, it was a regular day. On the way home, I would sometimes smoke weed with Duff on the bus. Our bus driver was a family friend, and I'm not sure if he ever smelled it, because he never said shit. We would sit all the way in the back and tell everyone to open their windows, and hold the smoke in for as long as possible before exhaling through dryer sheets. On this day, I had brought my bowl, and Duff brought his weed, so we did our thing as the underclassmen looked on. As we pulled up to the bus stop, I noticed that my dad's car was parked there, which is alarming because he's not supposed to be there, and I'm high as fuck. There was absolutely no way to get the smell off me before I reach him. Hopefully he's just saying hi and I continue walking with Duff. As I round the front of the bus, my dad yells through the open window for me to get in the car. Resigning to my fate, I opened the door and sat shotgun. My dad pulled away in a hurry and started to explain what was going on, but he only got out a couple of words before he was hit with the overwhelming aroma. He stopped what he was saying to absolutely flip the fuck out, and then went on to explain why he is there, but now in a much louder voice. He said that him and my mom found out that my older sister has not been going to her classes in college, and my parents are planning her a surprise visit to bring her back home, because she's probably doing what I'm doing, drinking and smoking weed. The original plan was for just my mom and my dad to go, but my dad said there's no way that I was to be left home alone, so I was ordered to go with them. We went in our front door, and I was greeted by my mom, who instantly knew I was high. As if she knew where to look, she went straight to the inside breast pocket of my jacket and pulled out the bowl. I just stared straight ahead, thinking that if I didn't smoke weed on the bus, I wouldn't stink and wouldn't have gotten caught. I could have been smoking this bowl as my parents departed, and I would have had a splendid time in their absence. She kept on her search, looking in every pocket for weed that didn't exist except in my bloodstream. Once she was satisfied I was clear, we took off on our almost 4-hour journey each way. It was a surreal feeling. I was high and my parents knew. I just zoned out as my parents were getting all gassed up to see my sister. We pulled up to my sister's college and found her dorm room. She wasn't there, so we waited a bit. I told my parents I had to take a piss, and they let me go to the bathroom in the hallway. This was the first time I was out of their view since my dad picked me up. I didn't need to pee. I needed to get rid of the crushed hydrocodones I had in my wallet, the one spot my mother didn't look. Fearing a more extensive shakedown, I emptied the baggie into the toilet, and then dropped the baggie into the toilet and flushed it. If found, my parents would think it's coke, but the truth is probably worse. I stole it from them and crushed it up for easier insufflation. I didn't even think about taking it. I just wanted it gone as soon as possible. My sister was obviously surprised by the visit and became distraught. She said goodbye to her friends and got in the car. We drove back and I heard the entire speech from my parents for a second time. The very next day, my dad drove me to a treatment center for fuck-ups under 18. I met my counselor and set up a schedule for one-on-one appointments on Mondays and group sessions on Wednesdays. I was drug tested every week after the one-on-one sessions, so I would only smoke weed right after the drug test. I went in as an inexperienced drug addict and came out with a solid understanding of the next drugs I wanted to try, thanks to all the older kids I met during the group sessions. After 6 months, I was able to end treatment and resume my regular drug use. My parents thought this was the end of my adventure with psychoactives, not knowing that my use would continue for years to come. And this was only my first of 3 trips to rehab. Now let me back up a little. The day after we picked up my sister from college, I got to school, but I don't go to my usual smoke spot. My younger sister had told my dad that not only do I smoke weed after school, but I smoke weed before school. And how did she find out? Ethan, of course. Why he felt the need to tell her that, I'll never understand. But at the time, I had no idea how my parents found out. I go into school sober as a judge, and was confronted by Eric, a member of the Smoke Weed Before School in the Alley Club. And he said I ratted about the smoke spot, and I was going to get jumped. Now, Eric is about 5'3" and 100 pounds, so I wasn't scared of him. But I felt my world crumble as he said that. My social network was falling apart, along with my home life. I didn't rat on anybody, and they're all pissed at me. Even Tom, one of my best friends at the time. He was convinced that I had turned state's evidence, and I was taking everyone down. Even Pat distanced himself from me. As time went on, everything calmed down, and things returned to normal. I was never jumped, and they noticed nothing changed. They still smoked at the spot anyway, with no negative consequences. Everyone eventually forgot, and I was allowed to smoke before school in the alleyway again. We all learned the truth about how my parents found out. But by that time, the smoke group didn't care, and they didn't apologize. But I never forgot how my drug-using friends treated me.
Subscribe to Eli Chester and the Masons, motherfucker! Chester and a Mrs. Motherfucker.